What's good, YouTube land? Geez, a toy review? I know, right? Sorry, it's been a long time, but, you know, with the corona stuff, it's been kind of hard to get to a toy store, really, since March. But, you know, eBay's still a thing, if you're willing to wait a ridiculously long time, like I was, because I finally picked up some more Earthrise Deluxes. And this time, we're taking a look at Wheeljack. So, here's his box. There's a nice shot of him looking off into the distance at something. At the top of that, there's the side shot, which looking at it, I still prefer this one to the Siege one, because this one looks way more dynamic, and it's way easier to see what's going on than the Siege one. I like how Shockwave and Megatron are here, and yet Shockwave doesn't have re-release in Earthrise, and Megatron toy gets a remold that I'm not going to buy. Oh, but also, right there, I don't think I mentioned, that's Double Dealer right there. Just sitting, watching screens. Yeah, Hound, Trail, is he Trail Cutter or Trail Breaker? It looks like they actually used the, the Generations 2013 Trail Breaker. He's Trail Breaker for the image for this. Don't know why they haven't. Well, I guess because they didn't want to give away a spoiler that he's going to be a repaint. But RC, Sideswipe, Bumblebee in the background being chased by somebody, Wheeljack right there, Optimus Prime. There's Unicron right at the corner here, who still, I don't think has still been released yet. And here's the back with some Chinese on it, because I bought these straight from China. So yeah, we'll take a look at Wheeljack. And I like this guy. And we do, this time, we do have a straight comparison, because I do actually have a Generations Wheeljack. But first off, this thing, I guess. Can you see it right there? It says Antilla. See that? Can you see that? There. And I think it's supposed to say there's something else somewhere, but I don't see it. Or above it is just Cybertronian for something. Okay. And instructions. But yeah. This is Wheeljack in his brand new, finally here toy. I didn't have a good transition for that. Here he is next to the Classics Generation Thrilling 30, before it was the Thrilling 30. No, I think he classifies as Thrilling 30 Wheeljack. And I like this guy a lot more. First off, this guy's a lot more solid than this guy. And look at, that is the biggest example right there of modern engineering advancements. This guy, like, look at that, the gigantic backpack of just the whole back of his car. This guy, he's very, very clean. Just the tiniest amount of the back of the car, but he feels so much sturdier. But I guess as always we have to talk about the head first. I haven't done one of these in a long time. Head's looking pretty good for a attempt at a cartoon Wheeljack, cartoon accurate Wheeljack. I like the kind of sunken in blue eyes. They're kind of hard to see though. I'm trying to make sure this is the what's the word? I feel like I'm a bit rusty, even though I shouldn't be, because I just stream 7 days a week and I constantly talk to a camera. I appreciate the fact that they didn't go for translucent light piping like this guy. And they just actually gave him proper blue eyes and silver, the silver slinky mouth with the ears. Because if anything I've seen of the cartoon, his ears only change color when he's talking. Otherwise, they're just kind of silver. And his hilariously looking triple silver mohawk, which is nice. All the way down, he looks good. He looks like Wheeljack, and he's a very clean. Again, I can't not comment on how clean this guy looks. Like from the side, there's almost nothing hanging off. Like his car bits are kind of on the backs of his arms, but that's the only bit that's close enough to be calling kibble. Because this guy uses alt mode so well. And it's also cleaner in other respects compared to his previous version. The chest. This one hangs a bit too far down, covering his crotch. This one, they do some really smart things to kind of separate it and like tuck it away. We'll see more of that in the transformation. The freaky tracks his feet as ankles. Kind of looks weird because this guy was a remold of Reveal the Shield Turbo Tracks. This guy, just basic heels, does the job. His thighs are a little bit tiny, but that's kind of the case with Wheeljack in general. I keep comparing him to this one because these two. Okay, so Wheeljack has not had a lot of modern toys that really captured the character. Besides that one there, he's had a combiner limb, which looked terrible. And the only other closest one that vaguely comes to mind is Energon Downshift, not, or what's his name? You know the guy, the Energon, the white guy who was supposed to be Wheeljack from Energon. But other than that, he really hasn't had a lot of really any modern, well, and a masterpiece. But I'm not classifying the masterpiece. I'm talking straight retail, $20 to $30 on a shelf. He really hasn't had a lot of representation. So other than that, he does have some nice red. I do appreciate this kind of TF Wiki described it as a green, like a greeny white, like a white with green in it to, I guess, well, preemptively sun bleach it because you won't be able to see very well on my copy of this guy, but he does have a bit of sun bleaching on him, unfortunately. Well, just in that back section because he's over there, like he's like this curtain right behind me. My Transformers are standing on a table in front of another curtain, just like this one. So he's sun bleached a bit. It's way more noticeable in car mode. But for accessories, he has his tiny missile launcher, which he can hold in his hand, which honestly does look a bit awkward, I gotta admit. It's nicely gunmetal though, with a random white peg. But you can use that tab to peg it into either shoulder. It would have been nice if they gave him two to give the full G1 look, but one's enough. And if you really want to, and you have him, you can give him Reveal the Shield, or you can give him Generation Wheeljack's wrenches. So even he can still do sciencey things. And I'm probably gonna display him with the wrenches because I'm gonna take this guy off the shelf. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone's going to want to buy him because of the sun bleaching, but he is up for sale. Like, I am willing to sell him. Along with some of the older toys that are getting Earthrise or have gotten Siege / Earthrise new toys. So articulation wise, oh, and also before that, there's a port on the back of the gun for whatever reason. I guess you want to, with a specifically weird shape. It looks like a pentagon, no, a hexagon, but with a slot for some reason down the. You can also peg it into his back. He has a port on his back that would be more useful in vehicle mode. Also on his back, not a lot, just the just a bit of the green and red striping that's accustomed to Wheeljack. You could also hilariously plug it in there. He has a lot of the Siege crossplay, but like they're not in very good spots. Like he's got them on his arms, which makes sense here and here, but then the rest of them are just on the back of his shins and the back of his car, basically his back. So it doesn't incorporate the line-wide play pattern very well. Nonetheless, we must get into articulation. Head is on a ball joint. Nice full 360. Can go up and down. A bit of left and right. Actually, quite a bit more than just a bit of nod, waggle, side to side. One of the three. Yeah. Very nice joint. A combination of joints on the shoulder. You've got your regular universal. Oh well, I didn't want to show off that joint. I want to show off this joint, but you can go the full 360. It does get a bit awkward because he bumps into the slightly wide back plate. But you can go full 360. You can go out, and then he can shrug. One of the few Transformers I know in my collection that can shrug. I feel like he's competing with my stepbrother for the title of who can shrug the hardest. I don't know who's winning that. You got your bicep swivel. Full. It doesn't quite go full 360. Kind of gets stuck right there. If you want to go, you have to go the other way. But that's for transformation. It actually plays into transformation, I should say. Elbow, 90 degrees. Nice bend. Solid. Wrist swivel, very nice. It's unfortunate. The only part another part you can consider kibble is the panel covering the hand. But thankfully, they incorporated the wrist swivel anyway, which early 2000 designers just wouldn't do. Like early 2000 Transformer designs, if it had to have a panel covering the hand never moved. Thinking, not even, way past that, thinking like as late as Reveal the Shield probably did that thing as well. So it's nice to see they actually designed the wrist to move with the exposed hand, the covering hand flap. I've got to have somebody in my collection here who has a covering hand, like Energon toe line. It's not a good example, but he doesn't have a wrist joint. He's just one, but that kind of thing. Waist, very nice rotation. Hips, universal joints, lots of range. He can do full high kicks. Knee bend, 90 degrees, looks good. Very nice. Thigh swivel, also almost forgot about that. On a mushroom peg. And his ankle can go up and down on a double hinge. It can fold up like that. Oh, I'm not even sure if any of that was on camera. So, and he can also tow. No, not tow. He can tow, which is a very weird tow, but tow like that. But he can also ankle tilt all that far. So, yeah, nice range of posability. He's a very nicely posable modern action figure. Like, he's not really missing anything. He's not crazily posable. He has everything you expect in a modern Transformer, and other than this hitting the back, it's all free range. All moves very smoothly. Nothing bumps into each other other than that again. So yeah. Articulation, well done. Transformation. I really like this transformation. So we're going to start by taking these wings, which have a bit of silver on the front, and we're going to fold them like this, and they become the spoiler of the car mode. Looking at Generations 1. Then you come here. You're going to want to, what's the best way to show this? Rotate the bicep so it's positioned like that, and then rotate the hand so it's all lines up like that. And you're going to leave that alone up there for now. Do the same thing on the other side. Bop, bop. Leave them up here. We're going to come back to them at the end of the transformation. Rotate the waist. Actually, before you do that, take the chest panel and pop it up. It's on a double hinge. Fold it all the way down so it goes to here. Take the head, pop it, fold it all the way down so it's folded into his chest, and then you want to rotate the chest. So now the hood, you want it lined up like this, and then fold the legs down. That's actually a step of transformation, just to have clearance for everything you're going to do with the legs. You can fold the feet down in there, into their car position, straight. And then this is probably my favorite little tiny trick of the transformation. It takes the aerial bot extend at the collapse and extend at the knee, but it also, right in there, tucked in there, is actually the rest of the windshield of the car, tucked into his knee joint, and just fell out of his knee joint. But I love that little touch, the fact that it stows away inside his knee. It cleans up the robot mode so much. So just when you're you kind of get a like how do I best describe this? When you're here, get to about that point and then rotate it out and then continue collapsing the leg, and it lines up. At least it should line up with the groove right here in the shin. I could complain about the gap, but I never complained about that kind of gap with the Combiner Wars toys, and they have the same issue. So it's like it's a non-issue in my opinion. It's what they need to do for the transformation to work. And do the same thing on the other side. Fold it up, rotate that out, and then keep folding, or pop it out like I constantly. Thankfully, it's like it's not on a steadfast connection. So it's on a connection that can, like, it can pop out and you don't have to worry about it. So then eventually you collapse the legs together, connect the legs together, and the windshield will line up right in there. And then you basically just bring it up, and the roof windshield eventually, if I get it right, will, there we go, peg in to a port on each side of the leg, and you have the front of the car. Now we have one last step, and this is one of the smartest steps I've ever seen in how to make arms into a vehicle shape. So there are two slots right there, and there's a tab about right, how easy is it to see? Where am I looking? That little tab right there. It'll tab into that slot, and then the rest of the arm folds down, pegs into the side, and look, it doesn't even look like an arm. It actually looks like a piece of the car. And do the same thing on the other side. Fold, fold, and you have Wheeljack's iconic vehicle mode. The Lancer, what is it called? Oh, I don't have TF Wiki open? Darn. Look at me being out of the game for so long. It's only been a couple months, but you... me 2 seconds. Wheeljack. Oh, looking at some art, he does only have one. It's kind of the toy that gave him a second missile launcher. Or maybe he had one in the show, I'm not 100% sure. But here we go. Lancia Stratos is the name of his 1980s car mode. And apparently this has some elements that design harken back to a Lancia Rally. Which, I don't know race cars that well, but it looks nice and is a car. It's a sports car. So, yeah. Yeah. I do really enjoy that transformation. It has echoes of the Combiner Wars, but like not in a terrible way. You could comment on the bits of exposed robot at the bottom, like his head, unfortunately. Like you could flip his head around and just go, visible head syndrome, but and I don't really want to harp on it that much. And unfortunately, there is a gap right there, which you can see through the windshield. But I don't know. I just like this car mode. The wheels, it doesn't roll perfectly smooth. The wheels are a little stuck and a little thin. Like they're a little small, so it rolls okay, not well. The best thing about this car mode is the sides, because you have tons of references. First off, you have Aerobolt. You have some Cybertronian, which means some Cybertronian, which Cybertron. Oh, I didn't even notice. Yeah, his spoiler is actually 5mm peg, so you could get a couple. You have a couple more weapon ports right there, if you want. Oh no, it's actually kanji. Yeah, that makes sense. That's kanji for Cybertron, which was actually they weren't called Autobots in Japan. They were Cybertrons, and I forget what the Decepticons were called. Destron, something like that. The Autobot insignia is still there. Nice, very nice. I didn't really mention it. You got his 638 on both sides. You've got, can you see? Praxis right there. References to other Transformers. Wheeljack. Okay, this is gonna be a weird word. It's gonna be. It's too hard to see, but it says Wheeljack in quotes, and then invention, INVENZIONE, in like invention. I'm not sure what that's supposed to. I guess it's a pun on invention, but with the T just changed to a Z, and one, because invention, INVENTION, you just added an E and replaced the T with a Z. But then it also says modulator. There, it also says ricochet, which is another name of a transformer, and swerve. He's got another Autobot symbol right there on each side. Icon, W motors. All these things are way too small for a camera to pick up. Especially this camera. He's got a racing flag, which is a nice touch. You know, Cybertron Con. He has the kanji here for Cybertron and on the sides. There's a lot of references in this car mode. I like to imagine those 5mm ports are trying to resemble exhaust ports, but not really working. But I love this transformation because the arms disappear. Like, sure, you can see the hands, but every other angle, it looks like just a piece of the car. You've got his iconic low to the ground bumper. Quite a bit of detailing on the hood. Whoa. It's black windscreen. Unfortunately, it does look a bit smashed due to transformations. Like, yeah, 3 pieces of glass kind of put in there, and the seals. Like imagine you had to get your windshield replaced and they didn't seal the edges properly. That's what that kind of looks like. But, overall, this is a very nice car mode. And you can plug the missile launcher on there for whatever that does for you. You kind of plug it on the back. If you had a second one, this is why I want a second of this gun, the missile launcher, but without buying a second Wheeljack, just to make it kind of like a uniform look, you know. But you could also, it doesn't really, these don't really have anywhere to go because there's nothing to clip onto, unfortunately. But we have to compare him to this guy, and I don't really. I guess I'm just gonna transform him. So I guess I'll give my final thoughts, so to speak. Because I wasn't sure if I wanted Wheeljack going into it before the toy was actually released, because I already have this guy, and I thought I was happy with this Wheeljack. I'm like, no, I'll see a review. I'll see how I feel about it. Wasn't really sold on just promo pics of Wheeljack. I've seen digibashes of Wheeljack, which made him look a lot better, like as a Sunstreaker. How come we got Earthrise or Siege, excuse me, Siege, Sideswipe, G2 Sideswipe, and the white repaint. What's his name? I can't remember. Red Alert. How come we got those 3? I never actually reviewed G2 Sideswipe, but I have him right here. I didn't really think he was worth a review because it's just an inverse, like swapping the black and the red around. I didn't really think it was worth it. But red, like those 3, but we haven't gotten his brother yet. Like, that's, like, come on. Give us Sunstreaker. Like, I don't know. The look of stuff we're getting soon. And the fact that they're doing another of the smoke screen. They're doing an Earthrise smoke screen. It's like, what was the point of releasing Generation Select smoke screen when you were just gonna do? I don't know. I'm trying to remember how this works. Ah, there. That's what I was missing. Like, I transformed this guy recently. So, like, I remember... I'm kind of just... Ooh, yeah, half an hour. Alright, give me... There we go. Oh, is this... Ah. Yes. I always forget that one last fold the wings in step. Alright. Come on, buddy. There we go. Yeah. Here they are. And you can see the sun bleaching a lot worse in this mode, specifically on the wings and the back. It's not too bad. But yeah, he's a bit longer, but this guy feels a lot sturdier, a lot more solid. This guy feels a bit rickety and thin, if the best way I can describe this. Like, this guy feels like a chunk. This guy kind of feels he feels light. And the fact that he doesn't use any of his he doesn't use his arms as creatively as the new guy. So, yeah. Although, unfortunately, this guy does roll better because his wheels are a lot freer. This guy's wheels are a bit too tight, and maybe like they're not spinning as freely as they should be, I think. But overall, if you're looking for a classics Wheeljack to fit your Autobot team, I highly recommend this guy. He's a fun transformation, smart engineering, solid toy. Looks better than this guy, in my opinion. And he's also readily available on shelves now, as opposed to trying to go out to find this guy. So, yeah. That's 2 Earthrise toys so far. That's hilarious. So, I don't have any final thoughts. But stay safe, and hopefully this pandemic will be over soon, and we can go back to supporting businesses by buying toys. What else is there to do but buy some toys? Okay, I'm just gonna thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. And until next time, keep it weird. Bye. Bye-bye. Autobot science nerd. I forgot to describe his personality. He's a tinkerer, Wheeljack. Okay, bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye-bye-bye-bye-bye.